Hello, all my good listeners out there. This is your host, Katie O'Neill with Society Bites Radio. Today we have a very special show for you. This is the inaugural show for the ladies group in Sarasota, Florida called Sassy Sisters. We're going to find out a little bit what Sassy Sisters is, what it's about, what their mission is, and we're going to meet the founders of Sassy Sisters. So, everybody, welcome. Terry Myronic and Kim Steele Smith. Steele Smith. I always get that wrong.
Yeah. Kim Smith.
Hey, it's S's. So we call you Kiss.
There we go.
Perfect.
I like that.
I like that.
I'm going to call her that from now on.
Girls, thanks for taking on this challenge.
We're excited.
That's presented to you about the show. I know that there are a lot of very lucky ladies in Sarasota, Venice, Englewood, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch that love this organization, myself included.
Aww.
I'd like to introduce my ladies, Carrie and Kim. Let's talk a little bit about why this was important to you. What happened to you in your life that you needed to bring something like this to the table?
Well, I'll tell you. I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was a shy little thing all my life. Worked hard, did a lot of stuff. But, I had some struggles in my life. Had some struggles with addiction, had some struggles with, I lost everything at one point. Huge struggles with relationships. I ended up coming down to Florida. I moved to Florida in 2003. Moved in with my mom. I was single. I had finally gotten my act together, my head on my shoulders, ready to take on the world. And at the time, I was working retail, so I was great in my own little cocoon there. I just, worked my little retail job, and everything was fine. And 2008 came along, and I lost my retail job. Now, I had to go out and meet people. I got a job in sales. So the next thing that happened was I got a job in sales, and I had to go out and meet people, and I was shy as can be. I just didn't have any friends. I didn't have any, you work retail, you don't meet anybody. So I ended up meeting my co-founder, my partner in crime over here, Kim, at a networking group. And we worked together on another networking group for quite some time, and we got to be really good friends and found that there were things about that group that we really didn't like, and we thought we could make it a lot more fun. We thought women like to have fun. Most women are intimidated. I was intimidated. So we thought we would put together something that was fun, where there might be a little wine involved, and maybe we could bring some women out of their shell, because it certainly did that for me. I met all my friends in this group. Can you say blossomed? I mean, is that still a word?
I think that's appropriate. Yeah.
Well,
I blossomed.
Our tagline is spirited networking for professional women.
Right.
So all of those ladies that are
little
shy.
Little play on words there.
Yeah.
Spirited.
Absolutely.
Being the operative word. Yes. So it really did a lot for me. I feel and I see myself differently now. I see myself as a leader of women, somebody who champions women's causes. I'm not afraid to stand up and talk. I'm not afraid to make a fool out of myself in front of people. I'm not afraid to do a radio show. Who knows what's going to happen here? But, I really gained all my confidence through having this group. So that's important to me. That's why it's important to me. So,
Kim, what's your story?
So I moved to Florida in 1991. I was getting a divorce from my husband. I met another man, and I was working in a hair salon, loving my job. It was my passion. And he brought me to Florida for vacation. And next thing I know, he's like, well, let's move to Florida. I want to go be an airline pilot, so I want to go to the pilot school there. I found out after I quit my favorite job that I was doing fantastic at that he was lying to me. I'd already sold my house, sold most everything in it. And at the time, I was not close with my family at all, so I couldn't say, you know what, I screwed up. So I came to Florida with him. I hung in there. I had 2 girls, single mom. The girls were 5 and 9 when we moved. And about a year later, I finally got him out of the house. However, that caused many more problems for me. Not only did I have problems with the hair salons I tried to work in, totally different than the one I worked in it was actually South Dakota. I grew up in Colorado, but my husband had moved me to South Dakota. So,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Ew.
I actually gave up a really good career for my husband because I was working in a clothing store, and my boss wanted me to manage a lingerie store he wanted to open. But my husband wanted to be a truck driver and follow his father. So, as my mom said, you know, you got to kind of follow your husband. So I did.
Oh, don't listen to Mom.
I know. That's what she did. She didn't have a career or anything. So that's what I did. I followed her. And so anyway, this guy moves me to Florida. And I ended up having some troubles trying to do hair here. It was a whole different ballgame. It wasn't fun. I had issues with owners and decided, well, I guess it's not for me here as hard as it was. And then I got rid of the guy. But that brought new issues on. I had to pay more bills. So I have my 2 daughters and myself. And I decided that I would rent out my bedroom. So we had a 2-bedroom townhouse, and I slept on the sofa sleeper because I had to make sure my children could eat and they could have the things they needed.
Well, I could appreciate that because I was a single parent. My first husband died. The second one should have. And if I could have found a Guido, I'd have probably made sure that it happened.
Right.
But due to those circumstances, I also had to take whatever jobs I could get and just one foot in front of the other and hope to God I was doing the right thing. You know?
Which is exactly what I did. I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time. Every time I ran into people I knew, they were like, okay, how many jobs you working? Where are you working at now? And it was just...
It was not uncommon for me to have 3 jobs at a time.
Right.
You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, I would work double shifts on the weekends and anything that I could pick up part-time during the week. I remember one time I was out of work and it was so bad. I literally went door to door asking if people had any work that I could do.
Yeah.
I stripped wax off kitchen floors. I did 80 bags of yard leaves, painted a house, modeled a duplex just so I'd have a place to live for 90 days.
Right.
So, yes, ma'am, I share your horror stories.
Yes,
for
and they
lack
are.
of a better word.
But it made me a stronger person in the end because I have no family whatsoever in Florida. So
Neither do I.
everything
Well,
I
you got me.
did, well, now, yes, I absolutely do. I have all my
Absolutely.
sisters.
Yep.
But then I didn't have anyone to really help me with the kids. So it was really tough to hold down a job and be able to be there when they needed me there. And
Yeah.
it was tough.
What do you feel like was the turning point for you?
My turning point was probably I got a job, an office job. Now, throughout my many other jobs, I worked as a bartender, and I met someone that owned an office. And so he said, you know, I need someone, and so I started working for him. So I didn't have to do as many other jobs because the other ones were gas station.
And they don't
Yeah.
pay so well.
No, they don't, and that's why I had to have so many.
Yeah, you have to have more.
Yeah, unfortunately, women of our age are still to the point where we have to work for minimum wage on at least 2 of the 3 jobs that we may have in order to survive.
Absolutely.
I remember when, I was a methamphetamine addict, and I lost everything I owned. I was living on the street, and when I got clean and I went to live in a halfway house, I had to get a job. And, I had a great job before all this happened. And I went and worked for a company. I was making $6 an hour. Mm-hmm. And I owed $20,000 in fines and restitution and things like that. So I had to you swallow your pride and you just go and you just roll up your shirt sleeves and you work. I took every single hour I could. I worked 60, 70 hours a week.
Lady, anybody who's done what you've done and been through it and lived to tell the tale should not be afraid of anyone or anything.
That's for sure.
Ever. That's amazing to me. That is a really hard life to overcome. I see it firsthand on the streets every day. And it always makes me wonder, do they have a place? Do they have someone who cares? Or are they just out
for begging? A handout?
Yeah. Right, begging for a handout. You don't know if you're paying for somebody's liquor or somebody's drug habit.
No, you don't.
No. It's most likely the drug habit.
Yep, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
More often than not, though, if I do something, I usually go buy food and bring it back to them unannounced.
There you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that they probably do need, but would take their money and spend on something else instead.
Absolutely.
Yippers.
Actually, now that I think about it, one of my turning points was when my dad told me, "You're never going to make it on your own there in Florida. You're going to have to come back and live with us." That was the main one. I was like, oh, watch me. I think that's when my sassy kicked in.
I think true. It could have been. I could appreciate that. My mother said the same thing to me. Why are you moving to Florida with all those old people? I said, Mom, for the first time in my life, I'll be the baby on the block.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're
all the babies
younger.
We're still the babies on the block.
And we still look younger.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
But it's because of all that sassy fun.
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. We
fun.
are sassy. I mean, yeah. You got to have some sass in your life. I think that's where the name came from. Kim came up with the name.
It's a good name.
We went back and forth with a lot of different things with our logo, with our name, until we both said, yes, that's it.
That's it. Yep.
So that's how we came up with everything we've done so far. And we still do that to this day. When we need to do something new, we sit together until we figure it out, and we're both perfectly happy with it.
Awesome.
And we don't take offense if someone doesn't like our idea. Like we just throw things off each other. I may have something that I'm so excited about because I'm the big ooh, look at this great big idea. And if she's brings me down to earth and goes, Carrie, it doesn't bother me. I mean, we just have that great relationship where we can just bounce off. I mean, we even yell at each other. So we've yelled at each other once or twice.
Yeah.
Well, that's what sisters do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what sisters do. I had 3 of them, so I could appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And it was terrible because I was too old to play with the younger ones, too young to play with the older ones, so I was by myself a lot, so I could appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I was what was considered a brat. Oh. They now call that ADHD. But there was no medication for it back then.
No, you just had to sit in the coat hall a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Got a lot of whippings when I was a kid. Carrie,
I got grounded a lot.
What was your main turning point? What do you think made the difference for you?
Well, when she said that, I something just popped into my head, and it was just so similar. As a methamphetamine addict, you don't always remain law-abiding. So I had a few little run-ins with the law, and there was a point when I was in front of a judge, and she knew my background. She knew that I